Today, we are starting a series of stories about remarkable buildings designed and built in Kyiv. Since we live and work in Kyiv, we are starting today's conversation at St. Sophia Cathedral, an 11th century landmark. We are proud to live and work in this place. But since this land produces very talented architects, we want to work not only in Ukraine but also abroad, collaborating with our foreign colleagues. This story is connected with certain dramatic, even tragic events that took place in 1941. We are standing at the entrance to the former Lukyanivsky Jewish Cemetery, located within the Babyn Yar Memorial Park. This area, and this place in particular, remembers, as I have already said, the tragic events of September 29, 1941, when Hitler's leadership rounded up the Jewish population of Kyiv and drove them along Melnikova Street to the Babyn Yar Cemetery. Here we can see the former Jewish cemetery, built at the beginning of the 20th century, according to the design of the then architect of Kyiv, Mr. Volodymyr Mykolaev. Accordingly, it has survived to this day, and this building was the subject of restoration and the creation of the Babyn Yar Victims Museum. Behind me are the gates. They were restored according to our design. At one point, they were destroyed, but since we were trying to create an identity, we recreated these gates using photos that remained. And so, we will now enter the territory of the museum and the reserve through them. From the outset, we had two objectives. Since the building is a local historical landmark, it must be restored, and only restored. This applies to the museum space. This has been done in accordance with modern requirements, technologies, and related standards. Behind me, you can see the facade of the building. As I said, it was designed by architect Mykolaev at the beginning of the 20th century. After World War II, it was used for various economic purposes and was in a somewhat neglected state. As for our restoration project, we are currently restoring the facade. This includes the masonry and the layout. The ornate doors that were once here have already been completed. Unfortunately, the work has been suspended. This is due to the start of hostilities. But as soon as possible, we will resume this work, and a little later, we will directly deal with interior design solutions. A road runs alongside the building, which we have named the Road of Sorrow. Why? Because historically, on the 19th of each month, people were led along this road to Yar, where they were then exterminated. We have designed this area to feature appropriate lighting. We hear the voices of the lost souls, and behind me to the left, we have recreated the former cemetery's territory. A graveyard where monuments related to this territory and that period were erected. Unfortunately, all of this was destroyed during the Soviet era. This road leads to the menorah, at the foot of which we see memorial candles. Recently, we marked the sad date of September 29th. It is the anniversary of the beginning of the horrors that took place in this area. Usually on this day, dignitaries come here. The president, distinguished guests, the Jewish community. And because not only Jews died here, but also Roma and others. That is, this place is very mournful and it will continue to change. But that's another story. In 1941, the entire territory consisted of deep ravines where the executions took place. During the Soviet era, everything was planned, the ravines were filled in, and a park was created. But when we were working on the next decision, you can see behind me that the tiles transition into burgundy paving stones, which conditionally define the contours of the ravines that were later filled in. But I would like to emphasize once again that it was here that the horrific scenes known from the history of the Holocaust took place.